Good heckin' morning, and welcome back to Book Yaps with Ash. I'm Ash, and today I'm going to be starting to read We Love You Bunny, the sequel to the fan favorite Bunny. Shout out to Coda at the North Indigo in London who likes this book. This is a requested vlog, from my pal Sharon / Celestial Yahoo / Roadkill over on the book club. She read Bunny because of one of my videos, which is crazy, and has requested that I do a vlog of reading the sequel. Reading Bunny, pretty much the entire time I just would put it down and go, huh? Or I'd go like, what the fuck? Or I'd be like, I don't know what's going on. And when I finished, I had to go to Reddit, and I said, Reddit, tell me what this book was about and what happened. And I'm a believer in the theory that Samantha was schizophrenic, and a lot of what happened was in her head. But the bunnies are still real, but just like a lot of what happened, it didn't. So that's my theory that someone else wrote and I consumed. So I'm hoping to get answers out of this book. I bet you I won't. I bet you I'm still not going to know what's going on, but all I know about this is that it's like a prequel sequel where like the bunnies are telling their story because Samantha wrote a book about what happened, I guess. I don't know, haven't even started it yet. It's a lot bigger. So I'm really excited. I think this vlog is going to be probably funny because I'm not going to know what's going on, hopefully. And yeah, let's get into it. I've got my coffee. It's Saturday morning. It's fall. It's nice out. And I'm gonna start a new book. Life's good, baby. Let's go. Book Yaps with Ash. Okay, I took the dust jacket off, but I am about 60 pages into We Love You, Bunny. What's really tripping me out so far is like the perspective of the reader. So some of the parts of the story are written in second person because essentially, and this isn't a spoiler, but they've kidnapped Samantha, they have her tied up, and are telling her their story. So like in a way, you can kind of interpret this two different ways. One, the bunny who's talking is telling me, the reader, the story, and I'm gonna either believe her or not. Or two, the bunny who's talking is telling the story to Samantha, and we are getting her filtered perspective of that. So I don't know who to believe because, like I said, I feel like, hello Haven, I feel like what I believe the most is the theory that Samantha had schizophrenia, still has schizophrenia, and a lot of what she said was made up. What we know now is that she wrote a story about it, a fiction story that I'm pretty sure is Bunny, like the original book, but that the bunnies feel that some of it's untrue. So I don't know how much of their story to believe, essentially. Another thing, I will admit, when I first read Bunny, I did not get any of the character names down because there were their names and then there were their nicknames, and they were also similar that I never really caught on to who was who. I'm still trying to figure it out. But apparently, Samantha, when writing her story that's fiction, changed the names, but just slightly. So like Caroline, who was Cupcake, and Bunny, her actual name is Coraline. Kira, who's Creepy Doll, is actually Kira with a Y. And then Victoria is actually Victoria with a K, but then it goes by Vic. And then like Eleanor, who's the Duchess, was actually Elsinore. Now, was this planned from the beginning, Mona? Or was this kind of just something else that we've added for the sequel? That's something I'm like unsure about because it kind of just feels like it was like an afterthought. I don't know. So anyways, yeah, I'm 60 pages in. Essentially what's happened so far is, like I said, they've kidnapped her, and Coraline has basically just been like whispering in her ear, like, here's my story, here's what's happened, and like talking about how the bunnies themselves met, and also how they met Samantha, like their first kind of few classes and that kind of stuff. And then Coraline's chapter ends, and then Kira comes in and she's like, oh, actually Coraline lied about a bunch of stuff, here's my side of the story. And like, I don't think I'm gonna know who to believe. Haven't really had quite a moment yet, but we're still early on. We'll see. I think the biggest thing so far is me going like, what's true and what's not. So, I guess we shall see. See you later. Okay, so we've heard from almost all of the bunnies at this point where I'm at. Interestingly enough, the bunny, like the original bunny, just exploded. So like what happened is, I guess, apparently, this bunny came up to the two of them, Coraline and Kira originally, climbed into one of their arms, and then all four of the girls did a group hug with this bunny, and then its eyes turned blue. And then they were like, whoa, we did that. But actually, each of them thinks that they did it, them specifically. Like, only one of them has this power. But it seems that, like, if it's true, they have the power together, I guess. And the bunny, like, there was a hole. So, Vic was, like, digging in the hole, trying to get the bunny out. And then all the poet guys who Jonah is part of show up, start making fun of them. Then the bunny appears behind them and starts hopping away to Kira's house, Coraline's house, one of the apartment in which the attic exists. Leads them to their house, and that is where they start thinking like a weird erotic shit about the bunny, and then the bunny explodes. That's as far as I've gotten. So it's interesting. Back to my point about, is this real or is this just Samantha filtering what is happening through her not right mind? I don't know. Like, the thing with this book is either it is like weird fantasy magic or a big fat metaphor, and I can't really tell which one it is. I feel like I probably won't. Other than that, just kind of got more of the story of the four of them, how they've been interacting. Kira's story is interesting because in her mind, apparently, she keeps wanting to disagree with things that they're doing. She feels differently, but what she says out loud is like, yeah, totally, or like just kind of repeating what other people are saying. And that, again, could be like some higher power connecting them, or it could just be a metaphor for like being part of a clique and like feeling like you have to go along with everything. I don't know which one it is. I don't know which one it is, so I'm gonna figure it out. Maybe. Probably not. Actually, I think what I can conclude is that I don't know what's going on. And I think hopefully that's the point. I feel like I'm supposed to feel confused. I hope I'm supposed to feel confused, because if not, then I'm dumb. But yeah, I don't know. If you want to know what this book's about, ask somebody else. I am 162 pages into this book. Okay? And we're seriously going with the fact, like, the storyline that this thing actually happened. Like, that they brought this bunny home, or I guess followed it home, and exploded it. And now it's a man. I thought that maybe that didn't actually happen. But I think maybe it did. I think maybe it didn't. You know, I'm only like 30% through. So maybe it didn't. But the rate we're going, they created a man out of a bunny. So anyways, this leads me to question, like, what's the lie? Because they're claiming Samantha lied in her book, which talks about the bunnies and explosions and whatever. So what's the lie? Maybe the murdering part? We haven't gotten to a murder yet. They don't want to murder him. They think they can fix him. It's very much, I can fix him. But their strategy is just giving him media, like books and art and movies. But he doesn't want them, because he's not really a human. He's like a weird guy. I feel like I have no clue where it's going to go, to be honest. Like, we haven't got really to the part where the stories overlap, so that'll be interesting. But so far, it's like similar, so I'm waiting for the lie. Are they lying already? Maybe. To me, it does kind of feel like everybody's lying about everything. Nothing's true, nothing's real. So that's cool. So remember how I said I had no idea where this was going? I was correct, because now we're getting, you can't see that, part two is happening. Part 2 is happening, and we are getting Arius, who is the bunny. We're getting the bunny story now, apparently. So, like, he does exist, and what the hell? What the hell about that is about that? Okay, so he's... Hold on. He's written something. Reading this page. Okay, so I don't know. Maybe he's not real. Because he's written something. I'm gonna find out. I'm gonna crack this. Hey, y'all. I have read a lot of this since I last pulled you for a chat. Like over 100 pages a lot. I am eating up Arius's POV. It is so funny that she uses the little happy faces and the sad faces. It's so funny. He's like let me find one. Okay, so like what happens is he's like on this mission to kill Alan because the bunnies said they wanted to kill him. So it's just like in his head. And then he meets a kid named Alan and almost kills that kid. And then he meets a frat guy who starts talking about Edgar Allan Poe and how he's like trying to dress up as him, I think, for Halloween. So he kills that guy. And then he just calls him Wrong Alan. Right? And then it's like whenever he mentions Wrong Alan that he killed, it's just at Wrong Alan's sad face. All of my suspicions, all of my thoughts about this book, about Bunny, they're gone. They're out the frickin' window. I don't know. What I think happened is... So they created Arius out of that bunny. He ran off. He also fell in love with Jonah, who's in love with Sam, which is interesting. He killed that guy and burned a place down. And then I think the guy he killed then turned into a bunny because they couldn't find his body, but there was a rabbit. And then the bunnies, the girls, found the rabbit and then turned the rabbit into one of their darlings. Is that what they're called? And Arius killed what? Two other people? I think they turned into bunnies too. And now Jonah's like poetry cohort have kind of kidnapped him and are using him as their muse because he says weird shit. I don't like, what is going on? What is this book about? What are these books about? And why am I having so much fun? I was absolutely consuming this book last night. Like, that was me reading. And I don't know where it's going to go. I did look at the chapter titles. So I do know that there's something weird's going to go down. Or is going to continue to go down. I know that for a fact. I can tell you that for a fact. But bottom line is we're having fun. And that's what life's about. It's about having fun. Okay. Good morning, Bunny. I'm still reading this book. Slower than I anticipated, but I had a busier weekend. I didn't have the time to read it. And I also chose to read other books when I did. Whoopsies. Anyways, where are we at now? So what happened was Arius killed the poet's muse. No, he's the muse. Killed the poet's, like, mentor that essentially came to give them feedback on their manuscripts. And he turned into a bunny, and Ursula kind of took in both of them. Arius, I think, ended up showing up at Ursula's house, and she decided that she had conjured him up. And he was going to write his story about the other world that he's from, kind of thing. And that was going to be her showcase. But he doesn't want to write that because he can't. So he's just writing about his experience being a human-ish person. And stealing the poetry from, I think his name's Leonard. Stealing it from him because he's a bunny now. And then the girls have been going crazy trying to find him. They traced him to Ursula. She knows that he belongs to them, but wouldn't give him up. And now I think that something's going to happen at this showcase. I feel like the showcase is going to be kind of the climax. We're back in Arius' perspective. We were with all of the bunnies in the hive mind for a moment. It was just we. Here's the thing. I'm still wondering where the lies are coming from. Like, the book started with them being like, oh, Samantha, your book's full of lies. But everything's kind of added up. So I'm not sure if we're even going to get answers about that. That's really it. It's weird. Is it better than the first one? No. Am I still having fun? Yeah. I've got like 75 pages left. Which kind of feels like a lot. Whatever. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it for the vlog. Top of the morning to you. I'm done. Done the book. Something I'd recommend, if it is safe to do so, pop an edible and finish this book, or just read any of it. But pop an edible when you do that, because I popped an edible last night, read the last 80 pages, and I don't know, like I really loved finishing it. I found I was like highlighting different quotes and stuff as I was finishing it. I don't know if it was the edible, if I was just in a mood, or if the ending is just good, but I don't think it was any different from the rest of the book, but my edible might have made it different. Anyways, that has nothing to do with the book, but I finished something. What page was it on that I want to show you? But we go back to Arius's perspective. He's writing his story, and he's starting to figure things out, which actually kind of reminded me a lot of reading Pure Nessie. So if you haven't read Pure Nessie, go read that, because I actually was thinking about that a lot reading this book. But this was so funny that I laughed out loud. He's like, reader, I have to tell you that I believe I was once, and then a bunny. So funny the way that this is like you can't even see it down there. But yeah, he figures out that he was a bunny, that he was turned into a human by his creator. He doesn't know which one of the girls is his creator. He knows it's not Ursula. Ursula thinks that she did create him. And then he also finds out through Alan that only a creator can like send him back and turn him back into a bunny. So if Ursula were to axe him, then he would just die. He would not become a bunny. But there's another way to become a bunny again, and that is through writing your story. So there's some sort of a metaphor in there, I think. Ursula takes his story, he steals it back. He doesn't really know how it's going to turn him into a bunny again, and eventually he runs back into Jonah, and he gives Jonah the book, and turns back into a bunny. He also runs back into wrong Alan, who's Tyler, and I think they both turn back into bunnies. Or maybe not. I know Arius does. So Arius lives kind of happily ever after, I guess. Back as a bunny. And then, after that, we go back into the attic. The girls are continuing to kind of crash out, essentially. Like remember earlier I was saying, I don't know where the lie is. I don't think there was a lie. I think my whole theory of Samantha being schizophrenic needs to get thrown out the freaking window. Like, maybe a little bit, but all this stuff truly did happen. The explosion of the bunnies. What was her friend's name? Ava being turned into a human from being a swan. All of that happened. And they explain a little bit at the end how they decided to recruit her, because they saw her with Ava and knew that she was creation. Anyways, we're back in the attic, and they go like, we want you to take Arius' story that we stole back from Jonah and publish it. Take it to your hot publisher, get it published so that we get our fame too, because you got it, now we want it. And then as they're, saying things, they realize like, oh, we never realized your eyes were blue, or like we can't see you past your hair. So Samantha then steals the book and the axe, breaks out of the window. Turns out she wasn't Samantha, she was Samantha's bunny. And so she turns back into a bunny. Samantha comes out of the brush, I guess, grabs her and runs off with the book. And I think like that was basically the end, is that you found out that Samantha really didn't want to go back to Warren, and so recruited a bunny, a creation, to do it for her so that she didn't have to see her old cult or anybody else, and worked out because they were trying to kill her, or thinking about it at least. And yeah, like that's kind of just how it ends. and I remember thinking like there was missed calls from an unknown number going to her phone, and obviously that was probably Samantha calling to see like what's up. And then I guess she probably came back to save this bunny for this creation. I really like how the it's written in second person, so they're talking to Samantha. I think that's really interesting. You don't really see that a lot in books. And definitely that ending left room for more. I know that there was talk of revisiting the Bunny universe for a third book. I can see how that could work. Overall, I think as a sequel to Bunny, it is quite long. I've read critiques about, you know, the girls themselves, their chapters being a bit two-dimensional. There being, you know, too much of a monologue to it with their speeches and it all being played up. I thought it was fun. It reminded me a lot of like the slasher movie where the killer's like doing their speech instead of just killing the person and then they die because like they didn't kill them fast enough. It kind of reminded me of that. There also has to be an element of like reminding the reader who these people are, with it being a sequel and with the book being written in 2019, or the first book. So, you know, I also don't see how this story would have worked without them, just plot-wise, so I think it was kind of necessary for them to be doing that and to kind of, I guess, set up a potential third book. Obviously, Arias' story is the best part of it. It's the heart of it. It was the most fun to read. His writing style is just so interesting and unique, and I love all the incorrect spellings of words he doesn't know, like poetries and manuscripts and lappy top. And yeah, he's just a great character. You're rooting for him. There's a lot of theming around like ownership of a creation. Like everybody's trying to own him, whether it's the girls or Ursula or the cops or the protesters. Everybody's trying to own him, and he doesn't want to belong to anybody. He just wants to belong to himself and go back to the grass and just be a bunny. There's also like a really interesting conversation between him and the wrong Alan Tyler about he was a human, turned to a bunny, turned back to a human, and it's very hard after you've seen the life of a bunny and how beautiful and stress-free it is to like care about Psychology 101 or whatever it was. So that was cool. It was an interesting part to read. Yeah, overall, I thought it was great. I had fun with it. It was maybe a bit longer than I would have liked, but again, I do see the point of all the different perspectives and how the story was told. So, yeah, I had fun. Much more fun when you pop a gummy. That's just my opinion. I say 4 stars. Definitely wasn't as great as Bunny. I didn't have as many moments as Bunny, but I think that was for the best. I did know what was going on. It felt believable at this point. And yeah, if you loved Bunny, I recommend it. You're just going to get back into the world. You're going to love Arias. But I don't know why I would recommend it because I've just spoiled the entire book for you. So never mind on that. So this has been my reading vlog of We Love You, Bunny. And we'll see you in the next reading vlog. Bye.